Yeah. So shall we start right now? I think.
Yeah, let's do it. I think almost.
Okay, guys. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. So first, good morning, everyone. I know it's pretty early for you guys, so we're gonna do a workshop for 2 weeks. So before doing lecture, we're gonna have the first 2 lectures. One is by me, and the other was lecturing by Miguel. So my part, sorry, I just enable most people coming right now. So my lecture is mainly about using the Osgram to producing the hybrid image, and also to show you guys how to do the detail construction. And this lecture is mainly about 3 parts. We're going to talk about technology, techniques, and the culture and aesthetics. So following the Professor Ali Rahim's lecture previously. So we're going to talk about the relationship between those 4 parts. And then we're going to show you guys some techniques and aesthetics that, like the drawings or paintings that are influenced by AI nowadays. And then we go to the last, we talk about this workshop is more about innovative design and how we create the design, either be image or model that is both culturally and technologically. All right. So just a quick introduction about myself. So I'm graduated from University of Pennsylvania. I did my master's degree here, and I'm also a part-time lecturer here, being TA for most studios in the University of Pennsylvania. And this is my work that was with my partner, Maria Sophia. And we are designing a women dormitory at the Baltistan. And we're trying to, using architecture as a tool or shell to protect women's, just in case any attackings. So this facade of the building is more like, it's really close to Islamic architecture aesthetic. So usually people want to attacking any religion buildings because it's a part of their religion, right? So that's mainly about me. And then we'll go to talk about the topic of our workshop today. I hope you guys remember these videos, Machine Hallucination by Rafik NYC. I think Ali Rahim had showed you guys a video before, so let's just quick play that. So for some remands. So basically, as you guys can see that Rafik are using the AI technologies to generate the videos of New York cities. I mean, it's very unique because people never did that videos before. Like the whole videos is kind of the re-representation of the urban, right? So it's very interesting. You can see, especially the moments from the transition from one thing to the other thing. So this is most the powerful tools have been done by AI so far. By the way, this kind of videos can also be created by the GANs. GANs is kind of an algorithm that we usually using for creating the AI images or the videos. If you guys are interested, I can definitely share the link with you guys about how to create those the videos. But this is not the key part of our workshop. We're not doing this in our workshop, but just give you some examples of the AI influence our culture today. All right. And then I'm gonna talk about so if we're looking back to history, right? So like technology has influenced most part of our world. Either it's from Egyptian Renaissance or Chinese. So different parts of the world have different culture, and also technology are totally different. So basically you can see from these 3 paintings that they all have a different techniques, right? From the left, you can see this is Egyptian paintings. But during that time, the Egyptian, either in architecture domain or in the art domain, Egyptian art is very flat, right? The every figures is flat, it's two-dimensionally. You cannot read a three-dimensional space behind the drawings. And after you go to the Renaissance drawings, that was two-point perspective had been invented by Alberti. So most Renaissance drawings, they're using this two-point perspective to creating those space. So you can clearly read the space of the images of the landscape from like the human, the most close part of the human, to the middle of the castles, the bridge, the rivers, and to the behind the cloud, right? So everything had been described very accurately, right? And also the whole drawing is about narratives, right? So you can start to understand about the story in this scene. So the image, the painting became kind of a tool for narrative storytelling. And then if we go to the right, which is the typical Chinese landscape drawings, right? It's in Chinese, it's a Fuchun Shanju Tu, by Huang Gongwang. So this painting is very, you can see it's very being everything being blurred. There's no clear figures, like there's no spatial light, and you can see the boundary between the mountains, the river, the sky is blurred. And also even how that the artist treats the trees is very abstract compared with the Renaissance drawings, right? Everything has been has a really clear figures in the drawings. And then from drawings, we go to the architecture. So if you also look in the architecture during that time at the paintings, from Egyptian column to the Greece Ionic column, and to Chinese Dogong, and to the last image that I was just created 3 days before by AI. So you can see that how both culture and technology influence architecture form, right? And then, like for example, that most Western architecture, you're using the stone as material to construct it. So which brings totally different like assemble and the fabrication method. And like in China, we always using the wood material. So based on different material, we invented different fabrication method. And then go to the AI, the column generated by AI. You can totally see this column is really weird, and also it's non-contextualized, right? It's hardly to tell like where this column comes from. And also it's hard to tell the texture. Maybe it's a little bit furry, and maybe it's some other material. You cannot tell, right? It gives you like very, I would say, strange and disfamiliar phenomenon. You can see from this image by AI. So that brings like a quote by Rahim. He said that as techniques change, so does the culture, and as a culture change, so do the aesthetics, right? So basically, technology influence the techniques, and techniques also change the culture, influence culture a lot. But also, after the culture change, the aesthetics of the culture also have been influenced too. So there's always like they all like linked together, and there's also like a loop system between the technology, technique, culture, and aesthetics. So from our workshop, from you guys are gonna try to understand your own culture and to produce your own like kind of culture hybrid images that can help by the AI tools. So I mean, previously, like from the column, we can tell the AI generated column is very non-contextualized, right? But we're trying to avoid these non-contextualized things. We're trying to use AI tools, but also combine your own culture to producing something really interesting, but also contextualized. And then we we can start now talk about the AI. So, the first kind of the concept of AI I was seeing is kind of brought by the Mary Shelley, and who wrote the Frankenstein. Frankenstein is very famous kind of a fairy story. So I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with Frankenstein. Basically, Frankenstein is kind of a scientist that created like a half human, half machine creatures. So it's hard to tell if it's a human or it's a machine. But this brings like a concept of AI, right? So how you imagine AI? Maybe it's like totally like unfamiliar physical body, but with very intelligent human brain. So that's like kind of like first concept brings out by the Shelley. And then we go to the 1979, the artist Harold Cohen, and he's a British and who invented a program called Aaron. So what Aaron can do is that Aaron can write in a script that control like this kind of extrude nozzle. He called it as turtle. So what this nozzle can do is basically just like a pencil that drawing the figures on the canvas. And at first, the turtle can draw the really simple figures by just simple lines, and there's no color at all. And I think the Cohen has, developed the arrow multiple times so that the arrow can enable the turtle to draw the enclosed figures, right? So it's very hard to write in the script that AI knows what is enclosed, what is open. So it's very, it's very interesting that AI can start to draw the enclosed lines that become the figures. So from this image, you can totally read the different figures. And then he started to keep developing his own script. I mean, the script right now is still unknown, but no one does know how did he do that. But you can see from right now, like 2006, the image was created by AI. It's being very colorful, and also more figures comes out and more combinations of different figures. And so this image is more about the re-representation of nature. So that is the nature was from the perspective of the AI. So some simple some videos for introduction of the Cohen. I think I need to reshare screen so you guys can. Yeah, let me reshare screen.
I write programs, programs make drawings. Drawings are made completely by the computer. This isn't the case of computer-aided art making.
Harold Cohen has been an artist and computer scientist for over 20 years. I talked with him in his studio in San Diego on the University of California campus, where he has developed his own expert system to create original art. Is the computer being creative?
I think creativity is a relative term. Clearly the machine is being creative. The program is being creative to the degree that every time it does a drawing that nobody's ever seen before, right, including me. I don't think it's currently as creative as I am in writing the program. I think for a program to be fully creative, in a more complete sense creative, it has to be able to modify its own performance, and that's a very difficult problem.
The computer creates original art based on rules that Harold Cohen programs. Rules that enable the computer to draw a variety of pictures that are different each time they are drawn. The pictures can be abstract art or a composition with figures that represent natural objects and people.
Does it surprise you that a set of
Even 1,000 rules can then create really fine art.
Yes, it really does. I sometimes find myself looking at one of the drawings and thinking, come on, who are you kidding? Really, a computer did that?
You're in good health, but someday when you're gone, this computer can keep creating original drawings.
Yeah, I've always said that I'll be the first artist in history who could have a posthumous exhibition of new work.
Yeah. So basically, it's a video by Rahim Cohen, an introduction about his program to the AI images. So let's go to next. So if we just looking back at all the image we have mentioned from this lecture, from the Egyptian painting to Renaissance drawing and to the Chinese landscape drawing and to the Cohen's AI generated images, you can totally see that how the technology change and that helps people re-represent the realistic things, right? So same kind of the topic like I have talked before about the AIs. The image was created by AI is definitely non-contextualized, right? So you can now see like, oh, this is from either Chinese artists or it's from Western artists, even maybe it's probably from Alienware. So the image was done by Cohen. It's very randomly created by AI. So it's always have some surprising moments of the combination of the figures from his images. So, and then I'm gonna talk more about today's how the AI technology has been improved and also its application. So this is the new kind of AI programming called generative adversarial networks. We call it GANs. So basically, it have two parts. One part of the AI was trying to training the AI to recognize the figures in the realistic images, and then put them into like the delta sightings. And then the other parts of the AI was trying to combine them and also try to checking them if it's very close to real image. If it is not looks like realistic image, it will delete the figure that was generated by the first part. And so when the first part will keep training the images up from the AI, the image generated by AI are being more close to the realistic image. So that's like basically principal logics of how that AI generated images. So this is called a cycle gun. What the cycle gun can do is, like from the top part, you can see that AI was trying to, transfer the artistic, drawings or images to the realistic images, right? So the AI can read the figures on the canvas and also the texture on the canvas, the color on the canvas, to transfer them to the realistic figures like trees, waters, skies, and houses. And also the AI can do is that it can reverse the process of the translation. So from the realistic image to more like painterly like drawings. So basically you are trying to apply, different artist future to the real image so that it produce those kind of styling painting. And then we can see it can also do the things like it can read the figures, right, from the original image, and also it can read the style of the image, like the texture on the figures, right? Like zebras, you can read the strips, like black and white strips on its body. But what AI can do is that he can transfer the zebra to normal horse, right? So in the normal horse, there's no any like black and white texture on it, just change it to like a regular, brown, gradient brown color on its body. And also you can reverse this process. So you can if your original image is like the regular horse, and it can give the texture of the zebra on it. But also you can change, because of the using the black and white, the style or black and white texture, the background of the image also has been, influenced. So you can see the grass, the texture of the grass also change a little bit, into more like grayscale. So apart from that, what AI can do is that it can also produce or provide an image of forest of nature, and AI can help you to change the images based on the, I would say, different seasons, right? From the winter to the autumn to the summer. So it's similar, kind of like, using the different filters to filter your original image to your final images. So before I talking about more about Gauguin tools, any questions so far? Okay, cool. So there's another application of the AI is called Gauguin, and this application is really interesting. Is by simply drawing the color channel of your original images that can generate the realistic image. So that is the color channel I draw before, and then that the right part of the image was created by AI, right? So you can see that the purple represents like the water, and the green represents the grass, the yellow represents trees, and brown represents buildings, and the dark purple represents like a bridge between the houses, and also it represents the sky also. And also from this image to this image, you can see that it's have like clouds on the sky. So what I just did is just by simply draw the profile of the cloud, and the AI can read it and producing the cloud in the realistic image. Yeah, this is just showing guys some what AI can do, right? So this is not what we're gonna produce, that we're not gonna produce in our workshop. Maybe I can show you guys really quick about using the Gauguin to create the images. Yeah, so this is like a interface of this software, right? So basically you have the left is your RGB channel, right? Your color channel, and you just draw the things, and then if you click this button, it will give you the realistic images, right? So basically, you can see there are different category here, buildings, and they have like a bridge, house, roof, wall, right? So I mean, maybe in the future they can produce more categories. And also in the ground level, we can know there's like dirt, desert, and like sand, mud. From landscape, there's like, the landscape can create the sky and also the atmosphere. Like either it could be a very clear sky or it's a foggy sky. And to the paint, right? The brush is what you want, and the plant, right? And you can do the put the wood and the tree and the grass, like, or a flower on it. So maybe you can do some interesting now. So let's go to the landscape. So first I want to create some, like, let's see, the land. Maybe I do some, sorry, let me see. Yeah, here, let me do some sand. So basically I click this brush, I just draw it right here. I just draw that here, and then I just use this painting tool to make them more like solid figures, right? And then let me go to the landscape. Maybe we can producing some mountain behind it, right? So just using a similar painting tool to give this reading, and maybe we can produce some buildings, right? The houses. I draw some simple rectangles. some here, some here. Right, and then we can also draw some bridges that can, you know, continuous go between the two buildings. And we can put some plants here. Oh, sorry, yeah. Okay, so let's see what can AI give to us, right? So basically check this box and click this button. So that's what the AI can give to your in the realistic, but you can see this is not good because the mountain is floating on the sky. So the AI cannot create more realistic, right? So basically, if you're gonna erase the mountain, maybe you can producing your better images, right? And also I can draw some clouds. Let me see if there's some clouds here. Yeah, so I can draw some clouds here so that I can hide the mountain. Yeah, so it's a little bit of clouds here, but it's not very clear. And also you can change the season. So from here to here to here. Yeah. Yeah, this is very artistic. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, so you can see that AI is right now is very powerful. Basically, like from this application, they have like a resource of all the figures that from internet. It built like different categories, buildings, landscape, plants, and then whatever you draw from your left canvas, the AI can always try to make a really, the best composition of all those figures. So all those figures can close to realistic image. So that is what is called AI training. But we're not doing that in our workshop, right? So we're using the different software to produce our own like innovative design. All right, and we can go back to our lecture. Any question for the Gogan? Cool. Oh, sorry. Let me find the slides. Yeah. So this is the first image I would created before, right? I mean, this one I did better than the one I just showed you guys, but the same logic. Okay, so from the art colorful channel to realistic images, they keep improving the AI generators. So the most popular AI generator nowadays is called DALL-E. What DALL-E can do is that they can transfer the simple text like prompts to the realistic image, right? Like you just writing the dogs running through the water and it's just creating the image based on what you told AI. So this is really a popular one today and very powerful. But before they're doing that, they start to training the AI to recognize the figures on the realistic image, right? If you have these images, they're like millions of images on the software, but they have to train the AI how you read the person. So which is person? If this is person face, why not the building's person face, right? So the AI has been trained many times, tons of times, so that they can now start to read the person in the realistic images and different categories of the objects: person, ball, building, beach, and grass, plant, everything. So everything are belong to its own categories of the objects. After they have enough training and resources, they can do the combination, right? So this is the images that created by DALL-E. It's called DALL-E 2, right? But before it's DALL-E, the DALL-E 2 is more advanced because it can create that image with a high quality. I mean, the AI generated image, it happens like 10 years before, very early, but at that time they can only create a blurry image. It's very blurry. So like, for example, today they can create like the clear figures on the horse and how it sit on the horse. Everything's been detailed and the shadow is in the right way. But before, everything, if there's like a boundary or the gap between the figures, it's always blurry. So you cannot see accurately how the things combined. But right now you can totally see the very clearly, right? So this image was just created by simply writing a photo of an astronaut riding a horse. And another one, right? Just the dog wearing a black hat. So you're just creating this kind of the image. Even the category of dog is very accurate. Another one. So if you're writing a photo of like a flower shop on the front, and also with the color green and clean white facade of the building, everything's accurate. And also you can even see the shadow of the flower on the wall, on the facade, right? And even the lighting give you the right things. The glass give the reflection of the background. So basically the AI can give you like realistic rendering of your sentence. But it also gives some issues nowadays. You know, some people are arguing like about the auto shape of the AI generated images, because you know it's hard to say you create the image, right? It's AI created image, but the AI, how did the AI create image is they use online resources of those figures, because like either could be photography, could be realistic renders, but those things are not designed by you, right? So it's hard to say who, like, is this your work or is this AI's work? So they're gonna be, they're definitely gonna publish more policies about the AI generated images, maybe in the academic domain. But today, I just show you guys it's very powerful of the AI generators, right? It's give you, I mean, it can definitely inspire the people who cannot design. So that's the powerful of the AI. So I can show you guys there. I mean, the DALL-E 2 is not published yet, but you can start using the software or script that is called DALL-E Mini, like the column I created, right? Like we can see, like, you know, let's see what, like a dog. Sorry, a dog is eating banana, right? And probably take 2 minutes. Right. So yeah, right. So it's just AI can give you these kind of things, but you can see that the image is very blurry, right? If you, I mean, this one is pretty close, yeah, but those one, they're not even the blender flying on its nose. So it's cool. Maybe we can change not a banana, maybe let's see, a dog is running on the roof. Yeah. Yeah, you guys can also, you know, if you wanted me to try anything, just let me know. I can just write on it. And also sometimes it takes more time because, you know, it depends on the how many people are using this software right now, because this is more like online platform, right? Yeah. Right. So it gives a different dog on the roof. Yeah, so it's very powerful, interesting. But what DALL-E 2 can do is that it can give you really high quality image, more realistic right now, right? So this one is more like Photoshop things, but it's very interesting, weird, right? So you can definitely looking at some the people who have done on the website, like like a Ram who has eating the banana, something like that. It's very funny. Yeah. So anyone want to try? Want to read anything? Okay. No. You can put anything on the chat, so I can just put it on the script. Okay, so if no one is doing that, I just go to the another slides of our PowerPoint. Okay. All right. So then let's go back. Let's go to the most important part of this lecture. So this lecture is trying to using the software called Osgram. So Osgram is also like AI generators, but it not generating the image either from the colorful channel or it's from the simple text. It's trying to combine the two images. One is still image, one is a context image. So it's trying to reconfiguration of two images or even multiple images that into one images that is, have both quality of the two images. So those are two images I have created with my partner, and we're mostly using like Islamic architecture animation to create those kind of images, right? So you can see, like what I say, like this final image was created by one is called style images, the other one is content images. So basically what content images can do is that AI was trying to learning the composition of content images by its profile, by its, the shading or the gradient of the black and white. And also today they can also read the colors, right? So the color can, make a different parts in the paintings. So that's what AI can read from the content images. And then it's the style images. So the style image is more about like the style, like it's just a simple literature meaning. So it can all the way to apply the similar style into the content image. So it's like a recomposition of the style images based on the hierarchy, based on the configuration of the content images, right? So you can see the relationship between these two and the final image is that the style image are try to following those crease moments, folding moments on the content images, but also keep the really clear figures of the style images. Not only the figures of the style images, but also the details of those figures and also the texture of those style images. They all have been applied to the content image so that you can create these images. Right. So the good part of your final image is that you can read the space of the image. So if you guys are doing, after this lecture, you guys are gonna create your own like Osgram hybrid images, right? So if you can tell if it is good or not based on the depth of the images, right? Because those images can give you, the good image can give you the good clear reading of the space and the clear reading of the different parts of the surface, and even the close reading of how those surface be, be directed, and how that those surface be assembled with another piece of surface, and also the interesting moments like a void, right? And some part are flattening, and some part is more three-dimensional, and how that's like from flattened texture into like 2.5D and then to like 3Ds. So it's always give you the reading of the space in your good images. So we're gonna talk more about the style image. So in this workshop, you guys are gonna using the mostly are gonna be the elevation of some cultural architecture, based on your own like background, cultural background. Like if you are from, you know, like any part of China, like if you're from like Beijing, right? And you can start thinking about some elevation of how that the local architecture in Beijing looks like, right? It could be modern, it could be very Asian, right? Like you can start to think about the elevation of the Forbidden City, the Summer Palace, right? So, and also think about the detail of those style image, because after we're creating those images, we're gonna try to use the images to create your three-dimensional architecture pieces, right? Because the good part of the three-dimensional pieces is it always have the details on those surface condition, right? So like those original image, the style image I found, it's always give you the details. Either it could be texture or it could be like three-dimensional, like the artist on the images. And it's more like, you know, you can always find like more closed zoom in views of the images, right? Like this is like corners of the Islamic architecture. You can read the, you know, many depths in the arches, right? And also the texture and the clear figures on it, and the void carved into the dome. Yeah, and I will also say, you know, start to find some images and then, you know, start to like zoom out a little bit. You know, think about the categories, think about doing some research of the images you found, right? Because, you know, every culture, they influence, they change, you know, they transfer in the style, they change in the style, right? Based on the, either could be technology change or like the culture changing. So you can know even the arches, like from before the Islamic arches, it's always like Roman arches, right? And to Byzantine arches and to the Islamic arches, like the arches has been designed, you know, more complex, right? So from 1 point to like a 2-point arches to even multiple arches of multiple point of the arches, and also having more like detail of some corners behind the arches. So doing some research can definitely help you guys to find your own like style images, right? Like what I say, you can start to think about, you know, this is just an example, not like what you guys, you know, gonna do. So maybe think about the roof topologies that happen in China, right? And also different parts of China, they have different topologies, right? Like from the Forbidden City. This one, I think it's from like Chaoshan, right? So even in Chaoshan, like roof topology, they have totally different, you know, roof topologies and arches. Also, the different performance of the arches in the Asian, they can be, you know, illustrated based on your classes, right? Either it's like an emperor, like a palace, or it's more like for like poor people living conditions. So everything is differently based on the culture changing. But if you are doing something here, you definitely need to find the elevation of your like image. Right now, some image you can see is very, you know, tilted. It's very deformed a little bit. I mean, because like what I say, the AI can read the images, right, based on the figures, right? So usually it should be more like projected triangle figures, but now it's hard to read if it's still triangle. And also, you know, the texture are giving you a more like perspective texture. It's not like a right perspective of the textures anymore. I mean, in Chaoshan, right? So people, they always develop the this kind of roof topologies, and they're creating the rooftop topologies, you know, based on their classes and also based on their from, right? So it's all very interesting to read those detailed profile here. Either it's arches or it's like more like had pointed under these roofs. And then I'm gonna show you guys some trick of to producing those osmogram images, right? So basically, you're gonna have style image and the content image. You can see the difference between this image and the first image I show you guys is like I use a different style images, right? So this style image is just simple arches of the Islamic architecture. It's still, I mean, this already give you the three-dimensional space, but not that three-dimensional, right? It's still like a little bit of flattening. And what you can do is that you can combine the things, right? So you can see I have like the Islamic arches here, and also I have the other kind of like dome images. You can start to Photoshop those two images together and to make them as one style images. So there are gonna be more details happening in your final osmogram images, right? So now you can see not only have those right void cut into the arches, but also have those detailing pointed arches happen everywhere. And then if you not combine the two style images into one hyper image, you can start to put the images side by side as one images to put into the osmogram. It generates like this kind of image, right? So they are all different. They will be different based on how you treat the style image and how you treat the content image. So you guys have definitely gonna play multiple times and to finalize your osmogram images. And this is another one, right? So I just use a different colors. So you can see now it gives you different qualities into the arches, right? And also you can clearly, read the figures, right? So like how the space are being, placed in the images, although some part is blurry. So this is not good because everything's blurry into flattened image, but all those parts are very good, right? Even the black shadow, helps you to read the front and the back side of the thing, right? And even here, like this surface are trying to twist into the behind this surface, even though they're in like the same piece of surface, but you can start reading them differently. And also, if you can zoom in a little bit, you can now to see those small, tiny arches that are happening on the edges of the arc. So that is good image, right? So it can always give you the reading of the figures and also give you a reading of the space behind the figures. So that's definitely helps you to build your own the elevation models in this workshop. Like some other, so what if I change the content image like this, right? But you can see the final image are following the configuration of the original one. Like you can have like this kind of the main arc here, and everything had been placed in vertical, right? And how that the thing are twisted at the content images, like all those small arches and following those like folding edges here, right? But I would say, I mean, before I use some image like fabric here, but I would definitely recommend you guys still using the architecture image, right? Because you guys have 2 people in one group. I mean, each of you probably from different parts of the city and also you different part of China, and you can definitely think about your own like cultural advantage, like what's the architecture in your city looks like, and to get some detailed moments of the two images and start to combine them into the final images. And some other one, right? The content image are same, but I just changing the style images with the different corners, right? This one are definitely, it looks better than the other one because you can start to know the scale. I mean, the scale is also the part of your osmogram image. I mean, I will show you guys after I go through all the slides. the scale of your style images are also very important, because once you put, like, I would say, once if you are trying to change the style image to like very small scale, the whole image is going to be look very flattening, right? So scale can help you to read everything, you know, spatially. So that's all, like the two examples of the images I created before. So that's, I would say, should be called the good off-screen images, right? It gives you some strange aesthetics, but some moments of the images are very culturally designed. And also, if it's even like two different culture combined into one thing, I think that's the most interesting part in this workshop. So you are trying to, not only reconfigure the image, but also reconfiguring the culture into a new aesthetics of your design. Okay, so once you have all those off-screen images done, you need to start to think about to read them, right? So when I say read the image, means you can draw the profile, you can draw really accurate profile based on the images, right? So you can read the pieces of surface, and you can read the crease, the seam of the different pieces, right? And also you can read either this surface, it's a flattened surface, or it's like a twisted surface, like how did the surface be represented three-dimensionally. So everything should be reading really accurately. And even those small arches following the edges, you can also like draw those things on your original off-screen images. So basically, in the next lecture, Miguel also gonna show you guys how to use the Rhino tools to draw those, like, you know, Euclidean geometry based on your off-screen images, and also some other, you know, image tracing by using the Rhino tools. So right, you can read the overall arches, but you can start to see the arches are being divided into the two parts by following this kind of structure. And also you can see this surface having like a more three-dimensional behind this surface. So it's always having a crease that the edges are trying to be divided into two, and the edges trying to combine into one. So all those interesting moments should be reading from the images, and you guys gonna creating your own like three-dimensional pieces by reading that. And also even think about the texture, right? So because some texture you will be it's like image texture, but for this one, like those kind of texture, you can definitely, you know, transcend them into like more three-dimensional. It's more like the object, not just like a flattening texture. And then after you have your like profile here, right? After you have your profile be drawn here, you start to think about how you're gonna build it, right? So the right image is like it's a first test when we start to model like this part of the pieces, right? So similar like the original image, I will read like one single figures here, but in these figures it all will have different parts, like these parts are twisting to other direction, and you have like a middle arches that carved into these figures and give you more like space behind it. So the most part of this 3D pieces is that it's giving you the reading of the space, right? You can totally know that, okay, I know there's space behind this, you know, interesting profile of the arches, right? And even like the void that can cut into the surface also give you reading of the, like also the shadows, right? So not doing something very extrusion, right? Doing something, think about how the surface are being, I would say being like, you know, like a surgery, you know, like a doctor doing a surgery, everything has to be doing carefully, you know. Some other examples from the 2D profile to the 3D pieces, right? So from this one, the most interesting part will definitely be the profile, right? And how this profile are being directed into these pieces, right? And also the relationship between the monolithic surface to the arches carved into the surface. And even here, you can read the seams of the different pieces. So when you guys assembling your final models, those crease or those seams help you to understand the parts relationship, right? So you can always assemble them by following the seams moments. So yeah, I mean, definitely like from here to here, there are like many parts of the surface. There are also many parts of the arches, and you're combined them into like a whole relationship, right? So after you like start to modeling, practice modeling some moments on your Oscar images, you start to understand, okay, that your technique, your own technique that you developed to transfer from 2D images to like 3D-dimensional pieces, and they use these techniques and repeating these techniques and creating more similar quality like here and in all the other parts of Oscar image, and combine them into one really great elevations. So after we model like some parts from the Oscar image, we start to reconfigure them into one simple elevation models, right? I mean, the interesting part of this is like they're not just copy your Oscar images, right? Because after you start practicing your modeling techniques, it's also like the things is also by your own design, and also culturally design, and also the design being influenced by the AI technology. So everything is like part to Horatian, and everything is combined into one good design. So I would say after this workshop, the strong part is that you can find your techniques. You can always use this technique to build your own things that is culturally and technologically. So I will say that's all parts of the lecture, and after we'll give the minutes of breaking, and then I'm gonna show you guys how to use Oscar to producing those images. Before we're making some breaking, and you guys have any questions? Oh,
hello, Professor. Hello, Professor. May I ask you questions?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, go ahead.
I think in the program you use two images with one texture to mix the style and the culture. Yeah. But how you use one image as the texture and use one as a content?
I see. So are you trying to say like for example like this one, the style image had two images on it? I mean, also if you can also speak Chinese if you want it, you know.
我就是说老师用两个不同的图片，就是有建筑元素的，然后混合了一个，就比如说是 texture 一样的肌理或者是组合方式这样的，把这两个图片组合在一起。但是有没有试过用一个是用一种这个建筑图片，然后另一个是这个 content image 是另一个建筑。
Yeah, I mean,
折叠。
Right, that's a good question. Yeah, that's a good question. So basically, what's your name?
吴坤玉.
Okay, so basically Kun is asking like what I show you guys example is like using one is like architecture elevation and style image, the other one like some fabric as a content image, but he's asking if we can use the other building elevation as a content image tool? I think that's a good question. I think I would definitely encourage you, your group, to using two different, building elevation to create your final Oscar image. So which means that you can definitely use another building elevation in your content images. But the tricky part is that as I tell you guys before, like the content image should have some configuration, right? You should have like hierarchy, because the style image will follow in the hierarchy of the content image to create your Oscar images. So you guys need to practice a lot to get a finalized images, right? Good question. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, yes.
Okay, great. Okay, any other questions? Yeah, okay, so maybe you can think about a question when we return. So let's do 10 minutes break, and then we're gonna show you guys use the Oscar image to produce your own image, right? So think about a question during a break. I can answer any question after break. All right. Let me stop share. All right, guys. Let's start the second part of the lecture. Yeah. I know it's very early in the morning, and maybe it's gonna be continue for 2 weeks, and always prepare some coffee before you join the workshop. Okay. So yeah. So any question based on the first part of the lecture? Just let me know. You can either talk to me or just put anything on the chat.
那个抱歉，我想问一个问题，
Yeah.
就是，在得出最后的那个就是两张图片融合成一个最终图片以后，它上面是会有一些那个黑白灰关系的，这也关系到后面那个建模那个就是从它的结构线，然后到内部深入的一些深入点。那这个深入点距离的确定以及这个就是内部更就是黑暗面深入空间的这个确定是怎么？就最后是在建模的时候怎么确定的？是自己用看的吗？还是就是再把它对于这个黑白灰关系二次分析一下，然后得出到了一些就是距离啊或者是什么的。
Great. Basically, so Ifan was asking question like, because your final Osgram image are produced based on your content images, right? And your content image, like AI read your content image based on the shading relationship or the color changing gradient relationship, and then it produced the final image. And she's asking how does we start to recognize the distance or the scale of your final image, so that you can use the scale to producing your final models. I think that's really definitely good questions. I will see that into two parts. One part is that when you're finding the content images, right? So, and also the style images, you always need to practicing the right scale, because in the Osgram settings, you can change the scale of your style images, right? So if you put a smaller scale of your style images, the result are give you very small and give you like a very texture. It's more become like the style image become more like texture and being flattened because of a small scale. So you already put it like a middle scale, or the scale could be larger, but it always based on your content image. For example, if you're it's always based on your style images. For example, if your style images have like 2 arches, right? Compared with your style image has 1 arches, it will definitely create a different reading of your final images, right? Because the 2 arches are give you definitely smaller scale in your final images. And then after you creating something you feel is comfortable, you think it's comfortable, you start to learning by yourself. I will see, right? When you go to the modeling, you start to think about, okay, the pieces I modeled, you start to think about, okay, what is the scale of these pieces? So you have always to be trained, both AI and yourself, to finalize the right scale of your model. Yeah.
明白了，谢谢。
Great. Yeah. Any other questions? I think you guys are all like proposing like really great questions. I mean, that definitely helps your designing after the lectures. Okay, so let me share screen. Wait. So can you guys see my screen right now? Okay. So before it just reminds me something when I do the break. Like before I show you some Osgram, I can show you some like the tools that you can produce in the New York City videos, illumination New York City's videos, similar qualities, things based on the Google Cloud. So they're always like they're like resources online. You can just search Google Cloud. So you can just download the clip, and also they all have tutorial online. So download the clip and following the tutorial, you can create those videos by your own, right? So, but I can just simply show you guys like basically you find your own like resource images, and the AI will start to training your resource images and give you many images that is strange and weird, and they start reading the figures and the configurations. After the AI has to be trained through those codings many times, it really takes like a like 9 hours or 8 hours to produce the videos. So after that, it will give you the final videos. So this is the videos I created before. So I found some cool images that is like, I found some mushroom images, I found some vegetation images, I found something that is growing, I found something that is decaying. So the video is more about the loop between the growing, decaying, and go back to growing. So I can show you guys really quick. Where like the mushroom are transformed into like the landscape scale, and the landscape scale transform into like kind of like an urban context, and go back to like an object of the mushroom. And also I use some human things. You can see now the mushroom looks like human figures on the farm, on the farming lines, and then go back to the texture of the background again, and decaying into many pieces of the mushroom-like form. And you can see some interesting parts, like those mushrooms are being reconfigured like a human posture. Yeah, there are so many artists, they're using the AI tools to produce either images or the videos. So it always can give you a great inspiration of your design, right? So before people always think, oh, what should I do? What should I design? But think about some topics and finding some image based on your topic, and start to using AI that can create those weird strands that people never have done that before, and start from that part. You can do your own like design aesthetics, right? Okay, now I'm gonna show you guys the Osgram. So basically, okay, let me do it really quick. Basically, just Googled Osgram, and then the first thing that comes out is the Osgram software. Just go there. If you don't do that, maybe just if you haven't created any account, just sign up your account by your email first. And Osgram is kind of like an Instagram, like people are publish their own works on this platform. So you can always see what people are doing today. So basically they're doing, okay, I have my like photos and I want to use this kind of similar style to apply my photos, right? Similar things, human figures with styles, right? Yeah, you can see all those images. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, all those images are trying to combining the painterly style to realistic the human portrait. Like even dog. Right? It's very interesting that even this how the window had been ornamented based on the style images. Right. But this one, you can totally see this is not good. Right. Because everything blurred for sure. And the reason why it's doing that, because you can see, because in the content images, they're always having large pieces of surface that have only one context or texture. So in these images, the image can only be divided into like many like 4 or 5 parts. And also the problem of its style image is that its style images use like just 2 colors, black and lines, right? So which means the AI can only apply either should be black texture or line texture on this image. So this effect is not good as a good images, right? But this is pretty good. Yeah, this is good too. Yeah, this is not good. That's the reason why. That's also brings the question that Ifan had proposed, right? The scale. You can see the scale of the spaghetti is very large, right? So if the scale of the spaghetti getting smaller, maybe you can read more detail based on your content images, right? Because in the content image, there are so many, you know, like creases of fabric, folding of the fabric, but because the scale is too large, you cannot reading the folding qualities on the content images, right? I mean, this is pretty cool because you can still read some, you know, fabric folding here. Yeah. Yeah, this is not good. Yeah, you can see this one. The issue with this one is the scale. Its content image scale is really small, but the style image scale is so big. So even it's bigger than the content images, right? So it give you result like that. And also, I'm not sure. Okay, no, I'm wondering if you click somebody's work that can give you. Oh, yeah. So after you click somebody's work like here, it also give you the scale of the scale of the style images. So this is one scale. You can smaller scale by 0.5, 0.4, and they give you what that weight means is like kind of like opacity, right? So how much style you want to apply into the content images. Yeah, this one is getting better. You can see this is not same person, but you can see they're using the same style images, but this one definitely has a better scale because you can read in the human portrait better, right? Yeah, similar style image. Yeah. So I would say, as you guys keep going, you have to practice a lot. All right. So after, you know, just looking some people's work, now you can start to create your own off-square images, right? So you go to my collection. Okay, sorry. So you go to collections. The first thing you need to do is add some fonts. So basically, you need to pay some money to this platform. It's not that expensive. It's just probably like $9 that you can process like 30 high quality images. But if you are not paying them, you're always doing it free. But the free is always taking everything slowly. So usually if you do like HD, like you buy HD, like doing one off-square image only takes like maximum like 5 minutes, maybe like 3 minutes. But if you do free, you already take like more than 15 minutes. And also when you buy that, you can also do your ultra HD quality image in the final, right? So, okay, you think this HD image is good. Now you can do ultra HD so that it can help you to join the profile in your final image. So I would definitely suggest you guys buy the HD HD accessibilities. And after you buying that, you can start to process an image based on the Osgram. So click the HD. If you click free, you see the settings even simple. So click HD. And basically one images will cost you 1 credits, right? So maybe if you buy $9, it give you 30 credits and you can produce 30 images. And then you can see you have many like 2 parts, style, scale, like we have already been discussed before, the scale of your style images. If you don't know what it means, you can always click it, it will give you the examples, right? So this is the style image get 0.5 scale. You can see the style image getting really small, like Van Gogh drawings. If you go scale 1, it give you larger scale here. You go 1.5, even larger. So changing the scale that can give you different reading of the images. And the style weight. So you can see the example of this is scale 10s, right? So the default value is 300, which is like everything, the style image and content image should be combined really closely. But you go to 2, which means that the style images is it's like a little bit applied on the content image, but not fully applied. But if you go to 100, they're going to show you more like detail of your style images in your final one, and more, right? 1500s, definitely more details there. That's what style width means. Usually you can put 3000. So I usually put 3000, but you can also change the scale. So 3000 is a really good one. Okay, after you click that, so the trick is when I do the scale, I always put a 0.5 first, because it's a more like middle one. If you think the scale is too large, just smaller it at a 0.4, and if you think it's too small, just increase it to like scale 1, right? So that's some trick things before you guys process images. And after you have all these settings done, you can do is by clicking, either you're clicking for uploading the image here, or so those are the images I have already uploaded previously, right? So I can pick one. Let's say I pick this one. Yeah, you can also picking architecture and architecture things here. So for example, I do not recommend to pick something that perspective, right? That is not good for your final image. I would more like elevation, but since I don't have any elevation here, let's put some fabrics here. Like I will use this one as my content images. And then this part, your gallery is like the Oscar, their default gallery of the style images, but you can do your own things. You can either upload it here, or you can choose the something you did before. So maybe for the style images, I can just let's do some comparison. Let me just use this one, because I have shown you guys in my presentation before, right? I use this one as my style image, but the content images are very differently. Okay, so after you select all those things, you just go process an image, right? So you can see that I still have 30 credit in my account, which means I can still produce 30 images. And also this image probably take like 1 or 2 minutes. During your waiting, you can always produce in the multiple images, right? When you're waiting. So also the things you can do is that after if you have some image that you have already created from Oscar, you can also use these images as your content images, right? So you are start to training the Oscar more and more. But sometimes it give you bad results, sometimes it give you good. So it just depends on like how AI recognize things and also your understanding, right? So let me use this one, and I can using the same style images, the one I just used. Let's do some comparison. Let's process image. And we can, oh, sorry, you see, I didn't press HD, so it's like free processing, gonna take some more time. So let me remove this one. I just process this one. So click HD. So 1 and 3000. And I go my filters. I press this one. And we process images. And also let's do a test to change the scale. So process the images, same things. But with a different scale. Let's do 0.4 and process it. All right, so we're just waiting right now. Let me refresh website to see if they give me the result. I mean, during we're processing images, any questions?
Hi, Professor.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I would like to know if we choose we choose some photo to image that's to connect them. When we choose them, should we need to know the logic of the AI, just like how they recognize it, or to create the dips, or we just combine it and just try it again.
Oh, yeah. That's really good question. So basically, like I said before, I already give you some principles, simple principles of how AI reading the images. Like, let me allow Ali to in the lecture first. Wait.
I already did, Bingyu.
Oh, okay. No wonder. Okay, kind of fun. Okay, so that's a good question, really, actually. So basically, that the AI can read the content image by either like the shadow, right? So you can now see that the content image I have right now, it always has the shadow. So that helps the AI to read the space. So mainly, like I have this part, and also I have this part. Even like the gradient change can give you different reading of the pieces of surface. So that's what the AI can learn. And also the AI can learn is the texture and the color. So basically in these images, you can see that they only have like this like yellow detailed one, and the other one is like the remaining part of the green. So the AI can also understanding the two different texture on the content images. I would say that's like mainly two parts of the how AI can learn the content images. And the other part is like the question you have already, the thing you already said that you guys have always practiced a lot of times to get a good results. So usually before I did my final image, I produced like 60 images, even more, like with my partners. So we create like 100 Oscar images before I get the final one, right? And also the thing that once you practice a lot, once you're testing a lot, you can choose which one is good, right? Because sometimes the aesthetics you created, I mean, it's good, but it's not really the best. So I would just encourage you guys produce as much as you can, right? And also you guys have partners, right? So you all can have many images as you can. That's a really good question. Yeah.
So during this process, we might use PS to change its color, to make it black or white, or make its dips much more further to let the AI recognize our, to realize.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah, that's really good question. I mean, you mentioned a really important part is that sometimes the image you found online, right? It's a really grayscale, so it's not that high contrast. So you can do some Photoshop in to process your image to making high contrast so that the AI can read the shadow better. So that's also the trick part. Yeah. Okay. Let's do that. Yeah, that's really good. Let me refresh it a little bit. Yeah, you can see, right? So this is not good. Yeah, for some part, either it's the content image is not good. Like you can see this part, it gives you like really blurry, right? And also scale for this image is not right. Everything the scale is too big, and also image too flat. Either it's highlighted with the really brightest texture, either it's really dark. But the most part is it's blurry. So that's not bad. That's not good. But this one, right, give you better reading. This one give you better reading because you can see the different piece of surface, and also you can see the depth between the surface, and also you can see the arches here, right? And also you can see the even in the small void, the void carved in the surface is giving you another details here, right? So I would say this is pretty good, but not the best. So you have to start based on, let's say, oh, you think this the Osgram give you some good images, and and think about the reason why it gives you the good images during your practicing, right? So the AI is training you, and you are also training the AI to do that. So it's always like a loop between you and AI to producing the images. So this is, you can see this is scale 1, right? And the top image is scale 0.4. The 0.4 is definitely better than the scale 1. Like I think the question proposed by Yifan about how you're gonna read the scale from the Oscar image and how you're gonna producing the 3D-dimensional models based on your image and reading the scale of your models or your 3D pieces. So that's, I will say, is pretty close the right scale for your final images, right? Yeah. I think it's pretty good. You got any questions or any things you want me to test out?
I just want to mention, just make sure that you're happy with your image. Just analyze them well, because part of the next step is to have a good first image. So think about all this suggestion of depth and the scales and things like that, figures, part-to-whole relationships, because this is a very good first step.
Yes, I think Miguel is definitely right. So that's the reason why we want you guys to produce really high quality images. Okay, so let's mention the tricks before. So to producing a good Oscar image, the trick 1 is finding either your style image or your content image should be really high quality, right? Online. So you always find some high quality image online that definitely helps you create the final one. The other thing is that finding something that is elevation. It's like more projection. It's not like so the image should not be distorted, right? The image should not be like perspective. The image should be the elevation, but in that elevation, it always give you the shadow so that AI can read the space quality behind the images, right? So that is second trick. The third trick is changing the scale many times to finding some right scale to producing the final images. So I tell you guys before is that usually doing the scale 0.6 or 0.5 is always a good start. And based on that start, changing the scale, if you think the scale is too big, making to like 0.4 or 0.3. And then if you think too large, if you think too small, making it larger. And that scale of the Oscar image can definitely help you to read, to producing your 3D modelings, right? So that's like how you read the space, how you read the surface. Yeah. And also remember, you guys are, I'm sure you guys are definitely from different part of China, right? So think about your own culture. Think about what is most interesting, most aesthetic, culturally architecture in your town, and try to collect all those images either online. I mean, if you okay, let's see, if you are right now at your town, you can always taking some photography of something really interesting, but if it takes time, just find something online because our workshop got only 2 weeks, right? So this step only, like, I would definitely say your Oscar image processing probably only take 1 or 2 days, the maximum 2 days, but it should be done, in these 2 days, and then we can start to help you guys to modeling the things and assemble the things, because the whole studio is really about assemblage, right? The assemblage based on the Oscar image, because I mentioned a lot of times about how you read the surface, different surface, based on the seams, crease, and shadows on your Oscar images. And from that, you can understand, oh, how could I model them? During your modeling, you also think about how you're going to assemble them after your 3D modeling, right? Okay, any other question?
Yeah, I mean, Bingyu, let me just hop in here. I think you're right. I think that if you can find something that's unique to yourself personally, I think that's important. It can be several things. One, it's what is the most evocative piece of architecture in your hometown that drove you to becoming an architect, right? That would be one. Another would be just something philosophically you're fascinated by, right? Or a space that you've been to that has really moved you. I mean, these are really important things to make it more personal, right? So there are two of you, each one of you can select one of these images. And please do not select the first image you see on the internet.
Yeah.
Do not do that. It's even better if you, I mean, what Bingyu is speaking about, which I think is absolutely correct, is if you are close to the project that you find affinity with, photograph it. I think you can get a much higher resolution than the photograph itself is part of the process of design, right? It's kind of how you're seeing your project or how you're seeing the building, what the shadows are, what time of the day you take it. All of that begins to play a role in developing your own sensibility. The other way to do research is to actually scan it from books, right? As opposed to just relying on internet images. So, the first thing we're going to do is when we know you're from Xi'an, for example, we're going to search up Xi'an. Actually, we've all probably been there, but we'll probably search up Xi'an for images. And if you're in that first row of images, we are probably going to smack you with a ruler. If we could, right? But so you cannot, all I'm trying to do is reinforce Bingyu's point that put some thought into the images you select. Very important.
Yes. I think Ali is definitely right. I mean, Professor Ali has already making a suggestion of how you guys find the right image and how you guys find the high quality images. Yeah, I would say if you can find any resources on the book and scan it from the book, that's really definitely helpful for you create the high quality images at last. Yeah. Okay, any other questions? I mean, thanks for joining.
老师你好。
Yeah.
问一个问题，我就用中文问了。
Okay, it's good.
我的问题是，通过这些图片，我们能得到很多组，就是做出来很多组 trunk 模型，我们要怎么确定它的就是这些 trunk 之间的接缝呢？就是说，或者是我们需要在做这些图片的时候就已经想好这些接缝的处理吗？还是说在最后拼接模型的时候再做一个类似于连接件的模型来组装它们？
Okay, so by the way, what's your name?
陈奇。
Okay, basically, Qi was asking, like, when we're developing those all-screen image, should we already start to think about how we're going to assemble them, or should we develop our own kind of technique to assemble them? I think this is really a good question, right? Because the whole workshop is about assemblage, both in your image and also your 3D models. I will say, I mean, at first you cannot produce any good image. But once you start to practicing and training, the reason why you think this image is good, because the image can already, I mean, it's not there, but it can already give the inspiration of like the crease and the seams between the surface, right? For example, like this image, you can start to think about, okay, like what is the technique that can try to assemble this surface and this surface together? I will say that's the reason why we're using AI. AI helps you, but not the final. You have always to develop your own like assemble technique based on the images. I think that will be my answer to your question. I think that's a really good question, by the way.
I also think that you can develop a visual sensibility, right?
Yeah.
So there are two components to the image. One is just the visual quality of the image, whether it's succulent, whether it's it has kind of these qualities in it. So you want at least 3 qualities in the image, so it's not homogeneous, right? And the second is where you can start seeing potential of assembly. Don't let the assembly rule your decision. Allow the process to develop your sensibility and fall in love with an image for reasons that you know and you can explain. So, and what we can tell you is whether it's going to work or not, right? But you can develop the image and develop your own sensibility. I think that's also very important, right?
Right.
Maybe
right.
you want to explain that in Chinese, Bingyu.
Yeah. So basically, okay. 阿里教授在说就是 a sensibility, right? Sensibility means like 你要不断的去 training your image， 你不断的要去develop 你的 images， 然后从不断的练习当中得到你对于这个 image 的感觉，也就是说你感觉到它可以被 assemble， 同时呢，当你去用一些 style image 的时候，这些 style image 本身其实有一些已经暗示一些这种 assemble techniques, right? So 你可以得到的就是一个是从源头当中 ，OK， 你去找一些，可以有些因为它有 potential， right？ 它有 potential 去成为 assemble 的方向。然后但是呢，它不是最重要的，它应该是一个起点。当你不断得到练习，得到新的 image 的时候，你就会我觉得这个是好的，这个 image 它是不成功，这个 image 是成功的，对吧？那成功和不成功与否都取决于它是不是能够 assemble。Right. Do you think both Ali and me answer your question? 七？
我理解了，谢谢。
Okay, great. Any other questions?
Teacher, I have a question.
Great, yeah.
So when we build the model based on the image, are we just by our objective or subjective?
Okay, by the way, what do you mean objectivity and subjective? Like the subjectivity means your own thoughts?
Such as the circle or the...
I see.
I draw the circle on the image and I may build my model by based on the circles. So the circles is drawn by my by the objective or by my subjective.
Okay, I think that's a really good question. Actually, so Miguel will do the second lecture. I will say definitely gonna answer your question, but I can give you some hint. So I will say the Oscar image, the image you produced, that is here, right? It's very objective, but if you go close eye to read the profile of the edges, sometimes it's distorted, like here, right? So you always are using your own like subjective to try to modify the edges a little bit so that it can easily to build in your last models. So I would say both.
So can we just ignore some curve or?
Yeah, if some like here, right? If some image part is not interesting and even it's really bad, just ignore those pieces. It's just finding some moments or some parts of the image that have definitely had a potential that you can produce assembled in your last. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Bingyu, you have an example, right, of that small model? Do you want to just show that?
Yes, let me show you guys again. Right, so this one, right? So this one, I think this is a really good example. So basically from Oscar image, you can see here, let me annotate really quick. So here, everything's blurry, right? But here, everything is pretty clear profile. So I didn't model those parts. I just modeled those parts because those parts are very clear and very interesting, right? Because I have a really clear the figure configuration of the parts, and also I can read how those edges are trying to separating this part into two different surface conditions. And also I read the second level of the profile that things are carved into the surface and producing the space behind the surface. So this is kind of good quality of your Oscar image, and you use that to modeling, but now do not use those things, right?
The subjective came in where you started texturing it in the elevation, in the section, right? That was the subjective part. He asked, like, what's the subjective part? It's the moment where you realize that when you rotate the model, you can start seeing all the striation. But when it's in elevation, you don't see any of the detail, right?
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
that's an important point that you can make here.
Right,
Yeah.
right. That's a good part. Yes, because sometimes like Oscar cannot, give you full reading of the every single surface and every space behind the surface. So you have to be more subjective to, to following the Oscar image, but create your own like techniques that based on the help by the AI. Yeah.
That's called design.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that is design. Yeah, AI cannot help you design everything. AI is just like a tool to give you inspiration. That's the thing. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good question. Okay. Any other question?
I just want to mention that we will be creating a mirror board so that we can document all our process. So we'll be sending you a link to that soon. So that way we can all look at what everybody's doing and we can, give feedback a little bit more easier.
Right.
So we'll send the link soon to that.
Yeah. Also, I will see after this lecture. I mean, it's you guys' morning right now, so try to do some tests right now. Like just try to find some good quality image based on your own culture and try to do some tests. I think the more tests you can do, the better you can produce the final Oscar image, and that image can definitely help you to go to the second level of the profile drawing and the modeling.
Yeah, because tonight's lecture is gonna be depending also. We're gonna do a little workshop at the end, and we're gonna be using some of those images, even if it's not the finalized one. I'm just gonna go over some of the techniques of how to draw in 2D, some of the tools and commands that we have in Rhino for you to be really precise and control in terms of how you imagine these compositions and how you draw them.
Okay, so I think everybody is pretty clear right now. And also feel free to ask me in the group chat if you have any question, and then we'll welcome to any question. And otherwise, I think today's lecture is finished. And thanks for joining us, Ali, and also Miguel. So looking forward to see you guys tomorrow. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Nab.
Hi, teacher.
Bye.